Hey guys, welcome to another episode of LFA Shop. This week a mate of mine decides he's coming from Sydney at Spirit of the Moment, and he bought a van, Spirit of the Moment, while he was in Adelaide, and now we're driving it back, so let's get into it. Alright, so before we jump into this episode, I'll just give you a little bit of backstory. So Mitch is a mate of mine from Sydney. So he has a K16, the same as the one I've been working on recently. About 8 years ago, we started talking on one of the Facebook groups and talking about K16s. And because there's not many of them in the country, and he and his brother have one each, we got along really well. So from there, I said to him, like, we should meet up, and without trying to make it weird, I was like, let's just go to Melbourne, we'll go to a car show together, so he can drive down from Sydney or drive across from SA, we'll meet up and hang out. So we did that, and we've been really good mates ever since. I haven't seen him in probably like 4 years. So then he decided about a week ago that he had some holidays. He was supposed to be going north into Queensland, where it's all flooded at the moment. So he rang me to see what I was doing. I took the week off work, he flew down to Adelaide, and then we hung out for the week. So on Sunday, he decided to buy this Hi-Ace, which is super cool. But then he was supposed to be flying back on Monday. So we ended up changing the flight. Actually had to book another one for Tuesday, Sydney to Adelaide. And then I went with him and we left on Monday morning and I flew back on Tuesday night. So let's get into the video. It's 5:30 in the morning and we're going to drive to Sydney. We're idiots. What are you doing, Mitchell?
Hey, don't be like that.
What are you doing?
This is our first breakdown. 20 minutes in.
We're not broken down. Checking the oil and the trans fluid like we should have done yesterday.
Yeah.
But we're on the run. On the run. Alright, it's about 8:30. So we just stopped at the bakery. Wakery Bakery. Check it out. They got good stuff. Let's show you this bus. Alright, so it is a 1986 Hi-Ace Sun Chaser. So this is factory, like straight from the factory, straight to the outfitters for the full camper conversion. So it's got a pop top, it's got a kitchen and stuff. I haven't got the keys on me at the moment. It's got a kitchen, got a grill, got a fridge. It's got two chairs in the back with seat belts, so they're like a couch with seat belts. And then a bed or a front seat that turns into a bed, and then just the comfiness up front. So I'll wait till Mitch has got the keys and then I'll show you a bit better. The Dunlop side! Alright, it's 1 o'clock. I don't know where we are. We've done like 400 or 500 Ks. This is the van. Super sick. Super cruisy. Sits on 110, really nice. It's a dream boat. So is the bloke, but what a deal. So I'm not sure if I'm allowed to say, but Mitch paid $7,500 for this, and we are currently halfway to Sydney. So I think that's a pretty good deal. There's a tiny little bit of rust in the gutter just here, and a little bit on the other side, and that's about it. It's absolutely mint. Hi-Ace Sun Chaser. Alright, so you might have seen the little annotation of 105 kilometers an hour. So this Hi-Ace at the time was doing 110, no worries. As the day got a little bit warmer, so about 3 o'clock, 2 or 3 o'clock, we couldn't actually do over 105. If we started doing 107, it started overheating very slowly and only a tiny little bit, but it was one of those things. So if you were just driving along and you weren't paying attention for 5 minutes, all of a sudden your foot's sort of relaxed on the accelerator a little bit, chuck those revs up a tiny bit, and you're doing 107 and the car starts overheating. So we had to keep a really good eye on it, make sure we weren't going over 105, and make sure that the temp was staying pretty solid. It's just gone 130, 140. It's cruising. We're in Balranald, in the middle of New South Wales. How many k's you got, Mitch?
540.
540 from about 20 k's from my house. Like 850 to go. This is living, Barry.
Bit of a backburn going on out here. Very satanic looking.
Hey, how is it? 12 hours down, 1,000 kilometers down, and the weather's just rolling in down. Shit house. Full fed. Huh? We've done about 1,100 k's. The van's going really well. We've got about 320 to go, but we have reached the rain. So we just got to fuel up. And then I'm going to drive about another 150, and then Mitch will do the last little stint of probably 180 or so. It is currently 7:30, I think that's Sydney time, so we have been driving on the road for about 12 and a half to 13 hours. So it's going pretty good. So if you're watching this video in the future, or you don't watch the news at all, Sydney, Queensland are all super flooded, so a lot of the area is really deep. We're talking like 20 feet deep in some areas. Luckily where Mitch is, there wasn't a whole lot of water on the road. Where his brother is, it was kind of up to car doors and stuff like that. So it was a bit risky driving it back into Sydney at all. So it hasn't stopped raining in Sydney for about 2 weeks. So it is pretty crazy, and I do feel for all those people who have been affected by the floods. I can't imagine that is any good. There's a lot of water out there. It's 20 to 10 Adelaide time. We've done a little bit over 1,200 kilometers. I just finished a 600 kilometer stint. Mitchell's got the home run.
Someone had a nap.
Mitchell had a nap. About 150 k's to go, a little bit more maybe. Let's do this. It is pissing down. Correction, now it's pissing down. It's 11 o'clock Adelaide time, so 11:30 Sydney time, and we're about 10 k's from Mitch's house, and it has been bucketing down for the last 2 hours. It's miserable. Turned the camera off for a second ago and there was a massive thing of lightning. Hope to catch some more of it, but maybe not. We made it. See you in the morning.
Come here. Come here. Shut up. Shut up. Shut up. Shut up.
Been going on for 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Bit of carrot. Works every time.
Sash, sit. Shake. Good girl. Yeah. Shake.
Mazda Fun Top. Mazda Fun Top. TA22. TA22. Celsius with a 1UZ. Cressida with a 1UZ. Century with a 1UZ. Hilux with a 1UZ. Idiot with a 1UZ.
Who has 30 years experience in the defence force.
Is that normally dry?
No, it's not dry.
Does a bit.
He's keen to start helping foreign boss reckons
Turn left onto Aquamarine Drive.
1,400 kilometres for this. It's kebab time. I've missed this. Alright, so the next stop was kebabs. Yes, they're called a gyros in South Australia. Yes, I call them a gyros in South Australia. But if you're in Sydney, you call it a kebab because that's what they call it. And also, they do theirs differently. So the kebabs over there, they have really thin strips of meat, kind of like a bacon type texture. And they also do beef. Whereas over in Adelaide, we do like chunks and we do lamb and chicken. Which I've never seen a beef one in Adelaide. And I've never seen them in the actual like strips, so they're heaps better. So the last time I had one was about 4 years ago when I went over to help Mitch fix a car. We fully assembled and fully painted a K26, so a second gen wagon. We did that in a week and drove it to a car show, and there was a lot of all-nighters and a lot of really late nights, and one of them involved one of these kebabs, and it was the most glorious thing ever. So whilst in Sydney, I had a couple of requests. There's a few friends I've got over there that I wanted to go see. One of them is Ben from Third Strike Fabrication. He's an absolute champ, and I haven't seen him for years either. So we went and saw him. I didn't film anything because it was at his workplace. It is his workshop, but I didn't want to chuck the camera in his face. We then went to Mitchell's brother's house. His name's Mark, and he has a K25 like mine. He also has Mitch's 4Runner at the moment. He has a CRV. He has all sorts of stuff. So the plan was to drive the K36 home, and then Mitch would drive the Hiace home. Then we could put one of the cars in the carport and continue driving the other. Yes! So the last stop in Sydney was to Mick's house. He's one of the rad rollers. I think he's the club president. Don't yell at me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure he's up there. He's been building this little K15, full resto. Mick's eye for detail is ridiculous. He had a K32 door with an S2000 motor, and the underneath of the car was detailed as well as the outside. He's an absolute crazy man. So this K15 is super tidy. He's putting a supercharged 4-age in it, and then he's taking the supercharger off and putting a pretty big Garrett on there. So it should be a really cool little car. It's super tidy, and he's just crazy. His eye for detail is amazing. So let's check that out. Alright, so we finished at Mick's. We're back at Mitchell's house. I'll give you another run through the cars. Some of these are his housemates and some of them are his, so I'll put that on the screen, whose is whose. Some of them are also for sale, so I'll put on the screen which ones are and which ones are not for sale, just in case someone's interested. Alright, so we're back at Mitch's. So this thing's got a 1UZ in it, this thing's got a 1UZ in it, and the exhaust is currently in the ground. Then we got the Century, which I've not actually looked at yet, but it's pretty tidy. It's an older one, it's about early 90s I think it is. And then we got I think that's a 3rd gen Hilux up the back there with a 1UZ. So these are both getting 1UZs. This had a 5V in it, 1UZ. That had a R motor, 1UZ. Then we got a 7A or some description in the weather. We got a K24 in the weather. We got some kind of Suzuki twin cam thing, which is out of that, which is a Suzuki Jimny or similar. I don't know, it's his housemates. Then we got the chassis, got a 2-door 30, real early one, because it's got the vents in the bonnet. So this thing's super stock. It's had a respray at some point, and it is unlocked. Super, super tidy. He's gonna give it a bit of a touch up, I think, for the little rust repairs, but this thing's for sale as well. So I think he wants 10k for this. And then we got a A71 with some kind of craziness. This is a customer car, Davey, if you're watching. Okay, it's a turbo 4A. Pretty cool. Wrong body, but it's pretty cool. Also real tidy on the inside. Then we got a first gen coaster, Shorty. So it's a high roof with the big fiberglass roof and a Shorty. So that's pretty cool, pretty desirable. This thing's got the 3B diesel in it, the little 4-cylinder. I think it's 4-cylinder. And then it's getting a turbo kit shortly and a bit of a resto. It's going to use this as a bit of a rental rig. Rent it out to people. Let's see if I can get inside. Oh yeah. So yeah, this is the coaster. This will be his trip around Australia next year. So, pretty cool little bus, literally. I'm going to try and sneak around the front there and show you the front of the car. Don't know if you've noticed, but Sydney hasn't stopped raining for the last 2 weeks. So this is the front of the old bus. A cool rig. Little feet windows. Bit of a foreshadowing. And yeah, just the motor shop under the pergola there, and Toyotas everywhere. 1UZs everywhere. Alright, so then Mitch dropped me off at the airport, and there were delays upon delays. So we got told that the tunnel was flooded. So the main tunnel into the airport, we were told that was flooded. Turns out it was not, which is good. But we got there about an hour earlier than we should have, because we were expecting delays with the tunnel. So that's fine. Got to the airport, sat around for a bit. The flight itself got delayed by over an hour and ended up sitting in the airport for about 2.5 hours, which was a bit rough after a massive couple of days. Apparently this tunnel's flooded. We'll see shortly. So I'm in the Sydney airport. This is what disappointment looks like. The Lego shop's shut. Alright, so once I landed back in Adelaide, about an hour and a half later than expected, Emily picked me up. She was very patient. She sat around the corner from the airport for about half an hour waiting for me to land. So thank you very much, Emily, for picking me up. I did not want to catch a taxi and deal with all that sort of stuff, so thank you very much. So after all of that, I got home at about 11:30. By the time I'd had dinner and a shower and all that sort of stuff, it was probably 1 o'clock. So it was a massive 2 days. So I hope you enjoyed the journey, and I hope you come back next week for another episode. Thanks very much, guys. See you next week.